Tubbergen here with another economic video update. Today is March the 14th. It's Wednesday, 2018. I have up on the screen in front of you an article that was published in the Telegraph, which is a publication from the UK. And one of my favorite economic columnists, Ambrose Evans Pritchard, wrote the article. The article is almost a couple months old. It was written back in January. The title, or the subhead, I should say, on the article says, "World faces wave of epic debt defaults, fears central bank veteran." Well, the global financial system has become dangerously unstable and faces an avalanche of bankruptcies that will test social and political stability. That's a big statement. A leading monetary theorist has warned. William White, who is from Switzerland and chair of the OECD, that's the Organization for Economic Development. It's a inter-country organization, and he is the former chief economist at the Bank of International Settlements. So let's just say he's an international heavyweight in all things economic. Here's what he had to say. "The situation is worse than it was in 2007. That's just prior to the financial crisis." He said, "Our macroeconomic ammunition to fight downturns is essentially all used up." In other words, no more bullets left in the gun. We've used all our ammunition. He went on to say in the article, debts have continued to build up over the last 8 years, and they have reached such levels in every part of the world that they have become a potent cause for mischief. It will become obvious in the next recession that many of these debts will never be serviced or repaid, and this will be uncomfortable for a lot of people who think they own assets that are worth something. The only question is whether we're able to look reality in the eye and face what is coming in an orderly fashion, or whether it will be disorderly. Debt jubilees have been going on for 5,000 years. So here is a former chief economist of the Bank of International Settlements, a well-known economist who says things are worse today than they were in 2007, and we're going to have a debt jubilee. Well, that may sound extreme, but it's really not if you think about it. I mean, the reality is if there's too much debt to be paid, historically speaking, it never gets paid. And Mr. White says, we're there again. He said it'll become obvious in the next recession that many of these debts will never be serviced or repaid. Now, this, by its very nature, will be deflationary. In fact, Mr. White went on to say that the next task awaiting the global authorities is how to manage debt write-offs. How do you reorder the winners and losers in society without setting off a political storm? That's going to be, I believe, impossible to do. That's why I think it's going to be really important for people to own metals moving ahead, and certainly having some cash moving ahead, because we don't know what the policymakers' ultimate response will be. Gold is a terrific hedge against inflation. Cash performs really well in a deflationary environment. But both of these assets, I believe, are going to be essential to have in a portfolio moving ahead for many investors, and certainly avoid just stocks and just bonds. I believe both of those asset classes are setting themselves up in the very near future to go negative. That's today's video economic update. I'm Dennis Tubbergen, and it's March 14.